Well, Pam, thanks for coming out and doing this. Really appreciate it. So you're a Cub Scout Dem Mom.
Yes.
What exactly does that mean?
Well, that means that I have 11 9-year-old boys who I take to the woods quite frequently and try to control them and teach them to camp and enjoy a camping experience.
Well, that's why we've asked you to come and kind of give us some insight into cooking outdoors. A lot of people who are used to cooking indoors, but probably fear, what does it look like to feed a family outside? Let's talk about meal planning, because I feel like that's a critical component to being successful cooking outdoors.
Well, I think the most important thing is not to be afraid of it. That, yes, you are in a woods, you don't have a refrigerator or pantry you can go to if you've forgotten something. So you may need to do a little bit more preparedness, but you're in the woods, it's an adventure. So if you forgot something, just make do. Everybody has fun. It's a great time to spend time with your family and cook together, because most of us are busy during the week. We may not have our kids in the kitchen cooking with us. So this is a great time to take a step back, take a little more time cooking lunch, and everybody has a good time.
For someone who comes out for the first time, what are some things that could potentially frustrate them?
Well, part of it's your personality. I'm type A personality, so I've always felt that if you couldn't do it well, don't try. And so that has been a huge wall for me. How could I go to the woods with these children or my family and feed them well? I want them to be happy. So I just thought, just take it as an adventure, and started finding some great recipes and just sort of eased into it. I didn't try anything too difficult the first time. It was very successful. Everyone loved it. Each time I try something maybe a little bit more adventurous. And so now everybody loves being in the kitchen. They beg me to cook.
Getting back to some of that meal planning,
okay.
What did it take to get 9 meals into this small little cooler?
Well, some of the difficulty of camping today is that there's just so much stuff. And without making this an expensive hobby, everybody's going to eat. So if you just take what you need for the meal, then you don't have so much to take home. And so what I've done to try to be more prepared is I selected recipes or meals that my family likes at home, and I've just pre-cut everything. I try to do either what needs to be frozen on the bottom next to my dry ice, or what I need last for my last meal. If you know your family and how many you're cooking for and how much people eat, then you pack exactly what you need, and you eat it all up, and you go home basically with an empty cooler.
Good. So you've got a bucket here. So why do you have this?
These are my things that need to stay on ice over my camping experience for 2 days. And in here I have any, non-perishables. I have pancake mix, coffees, anything that you can pile in. The reason I do it in a bucket, it's easy to carry. You can use the bucket for a multitude of uses afterwards. You can use it as a trash can.
Okay, Pam, that's great. So where do we begin?
Well, as a camper, you're going to want to decide what level of skill you have in your own kitchen and what you're going to cook. So if you don't cook at home, this is not a good time to start with something elaborate.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So when you go to the woods, you're going to want to go with recipes that you feel comfortable doing at home, something whipped together, but nothing too difficult. You can do anything in the woods that you can do in your home.
So let's take breakfast, for example. Where would you start there?
Well, if you don't cook at home, I would try something very, very, very simple. I would take, they have great pancake mixes where you just add water, shake it up, and pour it on a griddle.
And that's pretty hard to mess up. Yeah.
You can do that.
Okay.
You can do that. If you want to do something more, a little bit more entertaining, you can make a ham and cheese omelet on a camp stove. Very simple. If you want to get into more of the camp style excitement and adventure, I would recommend doing some Dutch oven type activities. It's easy to do, but because not everybody grew up doing it, it seems forbidden, but it's easy to do, and so I'll show you a couple of those tips.
So by camp style, you mean cooking with the Dutch oven, a Dutch oven specifically designed for cooking outdoors, correct?
Absolutely. A Dutch oven for outdoors cooking has a rim around the top of the lid to hold charcoal briquettes on it in place.
And here's the thing too, like for me, cooking outdoors, it just tastes better. I mean, you could be cooking a tennis shoe and a t-shirt with some hot sauce, and it just is going to taste good because you're cooking it outdoors. There's something about that that just makes everything just taste better.
A nice warm meal around the fire is just fabulous. There's nothing better.
Well, I'm really looking forward to learning about cooking with the Dutch oven. I've heard about that. I have very little experience doing that, so I don't know about you, but I'm ready to start cooking.
Let's cook.
Let's cook.